Hi, everybody. This is Riley. Thank you for those who checked into our Zoom call earlier. It got a little disrupted when I went to share my screen and my computer just froze. So thank you. Like I said, we're going to post this video. And thank you for those coming on to watch the recording. Like I said, you don't ever have to be on the Zoom call at our class time. Just make sure you come and check on our recording so you can get the activity. So like I was telling those who were on the call, we're going to continue our fitness unit. I hope you enjoyed our warm up and cool down, going over dynamic and static stretching on Thursday. And like I said, we're going to continue to build on those. But today we're going to switch gears and head into cardio, understanding cardio's role and impact on our body. Okay, so now let's share my screen. Hopefully this goes well this time. There we are. Cool. So, like I said, cardio. So to understand cardio, right, we need to understand what system we're going to be working on, right? You don't just do cardio and not work on any type of system. So what is cardiovascular fitness improving? We're improving our cardiovascular system, right? So the cardiovascular system is something also called the circulatory system. You might hear those words interchangeable. The cardiovascular system consists of the heart, also consists of arteries, veins, and capillaries along with the lungs, okay? So sitting down throughout your everyday life, your body automatically has a cardiovascular system. When you do cardiovascular fitness, that is the system you're trying to improve. When you want to do push-ups, you're trying to improve the muscular system, right? So you're always trying to improve something. So when we're talking about cardio, we're trying to improve our cardiovascular system. So now that we know what the cardiovascular system is, what is cardiovascular fitness? Cardiovascular fitness is the ability of the heart and lungs to supply oxygen-rich blood to the working muscles and the ability of the muscles to use oxygen to produce energy or movement, right? So when you're working out, when you get tired, your muscles not just getting tired, right? Your muscles just screaming for, I want more oxygen-rich blood. That's that feeling of ow. That's that burn, right? Your muscles just like, hey, I need some oxygen. Give me some blood with some oxygen. And when you increase your cardiovascular fitness, your body's more efficient at doing that. Off of cardiovascular fitness, we get into two words, right? If you were in a high-level bio class or you've pursued this further in college, right, you'd really understand anaerobic versus aerobic. Basic definition: aerobic is exercise that you need oxygen, running mile, playing soccer. Anaerobic is movement where your body doesn't necessarily need oxygen. That's like doing 2 push-ups, swinging at a baseball, a bench press, or a squat. Okay, so aerobic, oxygen, anaerobic, no oxygen. Cardiovascular fitness is the ability of our heart and lungs to get blood throughout our body, oxygen-rich blood throughout our body. Review from, I believe last Tuesday, of our FIT chart, right? Frequency, intensity, time, and type. So for cardio, frequency, right, 2 to 3 times per week, based where you are in your training maturity, right? If you're just beginnings, maybe 1 to 2, right? Towards your advanced high level, you're an Olympian, you could be at almost 5 to 6, right? But we're going to keep it right in the average, right? 2 to 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, a Tuesday, Thursday deal, right? Intensity, that's 50 to 80% of our max heart rate. We'll get into that a little bit later, getting in those good training zones. Time, 30 plus minutes, right? If we just 10 minutes, a 10-minute walk, right, that's going to feel good, but that's not going to increase our cardiovascular fitness. It's not going to help our cardiovascular system improve. So you want to do some type of cardio strenuous activity for 30 plus minutes. Type anything aerobic, right? Walking for 30 minutes, running, swimming, biking, jogging, HIIT, right? High intensity interval training. That's like the 30 seconds on, 20 seconds off, 10 seconds on, 5 seconds off, that type of deal. Dancing, some type of sport, like I said, a soccer where you're running up and down the field is more cardio fitness rather than being the DH for baseball. You're the designated hitter, right? You're not going to need that cardiovascular fitness to just go up there and swing the bat. Hopefully once you hit a home run, or 3 times or 4, depending on if you get on base or you strike out. Playing at a concert, singing, right? One thing that I think that's overlooked a lot is musicians who put on concerts. Hopefully they're not lip singing, but they're probably dancing if they are lip singing. But singing and moving, that's a lot of cardiovascular fitness for like an hour and a half set, right? That's a big they have to have really good cardiovascular fitness. Moving on, right? So how do we measure our cardiovascular fitness? One way we do that, right, by taking our heart rate. How do we measure our heart rate? There's two ways you can do it. The first way is using your carotid pulse from your carotid artery. Your carotid artery goes up each side of your neck, right, from your heart to supply your brain with oxygen-rich blood so your brain can make the right functions and right calls throughout the day. How we measure that, right? You find your trachea, so that's your windpipe, right in the middle of your throat. And you go either way, right? Either way. Put your two fingers, your pointer finger and your middle finger. Don't use your thumb, right? Don't use your whole hand, right? Your thumb has its own pulse, so that will interfere with your reading. So your pointer finger and your middle finger together, right? You find your trachea, kind of go like an inch, inch and a half over, and press down and in, right? You'll start to feel that thud, 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 right? Be nice and quiet. Good. You can also go on the other side like this. Good. That's your carotid pulse. The other one, your radial pulse, you have a radial artery that runs right down your vein. On both sides, I'm right-handed, so I like to use my right hand. So I use my right pointer finger, right middle finger, right? Here's your wrist, just like the picture shows, right? The middle of your wrist, you kind of go over about an inch, not too far because then you'll get on your bone. But right in this crease, right before the bone and in between the middle, you press down, right? Good, you feel good, thud, thud, thud. Right, so you have your carotid and then your radial, two places you can take a pulse, okay? The unit used is BPM, so on medical shows, medical devices, you'll see BPMs. That's beats per minute. So we measure our heart rate and how many times your heart beats per minute. You can do these, right? You can take a carotid pulse or your radial pulse for 60 seconds, 1 minute. Or you can do this way, right? You can take it for 6 seconds. So you're watching a clock, watching your phone, right? 6 seconds, and you're counting each thud. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Counting each thud for 6 seconds, and you multiply that number you got by 10, right? 60 seconds. Or you do 10 seconds, right? Take your pulse for 10 seconds, multiply by 6. Doing the second one, 6 seconds multiplied by 10, get your numbers a little bit more clean, right? If you're really good at math and you just want to do 10 seconds multiplied by 6, go ahead and do that. But I suggest those for the activity we're going to do later. So important numbers off that, right? There's your resting heart rate, right? This is the first one, right? Resting heart rate. So that's your heart rate when you're just sitting down, not doing activity, right? You sit up after taking a nap. You get up, walk around for a little bit, sit down. This is your resting heart rate, your beats per minute, right? Throughout the normal day when you're not doing any activity, right? Sitting down, just resting. So you can take that, right? You can take that right now. Let's do just one. When you're watching this, right, hit pause, right? Or I'll give a couple seconds, right? Find whatever one you like best, right? Get a clock, get a stopwatch, take your resting heart rate, right? So just sit down, 6 seconds multiplied by 10. I'll give you a couple of seconds to do that. Good. Okay, so write that down somewhere and hold it to the side because we're going to need that in a couple minutes. Okay, the other two, right? Your max heart rate. We talked about this on last Tuesday, right? Your max heart rate, 220 minus your age, that will give you a number, right? So X. Don't do it now, we'll do it on the next slide, right? Then, so that's your max heart rate. Max heart rate is kind of like the number you don't want to go past. So if you're exercising and you're 20 years old, you never really want your beats per minute to be like at 220, right? That you probably won't be awake to see that number, but that's a number, right? If you keep monitoring, right, you never want your heart rate to get either close to that number or above, that your heart's working too hard, and that can cause some complications in your body. So it's very important to know your max heart rate. One, to stay away from that number, and two, just to be educated on your fitness health, your cardiovascular health. The next one, so the third important number, right, your target heart rate, which is 2. Right? So there's the range, that intensity range, 50% to 80%. And how we do that, we just take the number we got from 220 minus your age, right? That X multiplied by 50 gives you a number. Multiplied by 0.8, that 80% gives you a number. So go ahead and do that. right, to find your target heart rate range. While you do that, I'll just speak about it for a little bit, and there will be a visual of the next slide, right? This is the range you want to work in, right? If you're going to do light physical, not light physical, light cardiovascular fitness, right? That's that 50 to 60% range. If you're going to be training intensely, really trying to increase the cardiovascular system, cardiovascular fitness for intense activity, you're going to want to be up to that 80, 85% range. And like I said, those two numbers, the 220 minus your age gives you X. So X times 0.5, X times 0.8 will give you your target heart rate range. That's the range you want to be in if you really want to increase your cardiovascular fitness. And for that to happen, it's going to take a little bit longer than just 10 minutes, right? You want to be at that 30 minutes plus doing any type of those activities we discussed. So hopefully you got those two numbers. If not, hit pause, but we're going to move on. Right here, right here's that graphic, right? First we'll do an example, right? So if I was 20 years old, max heart rate, 220 minus my age, 20, that would give me 200. So my max heart rate is 200 beats per minute, right? I want to find the lower intensity range, 200 times 0.5, that'd give me 100 beats per minute. And I want to find that upper range at 80%, 200 times 0.8, that would give me 160 beats per minute, a high intensity range. If we look over to our chart, we get to see how those different ranges really affect how we're feeling in our cardiovascular fitness. So if we're at 50%, we're at zone 1, right? There's zone 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We kind of stay in zone 1 and 4, right? If we're at zone 1, that's exercise. That's going out, nice walk the dog, nice little jog. Maybe that's just a warm up, right? You feel comfortable, not really strain. There's no strain on your body. There's no burn in the muscle. That's that 50, 59% range, low intensity, right? If we go up to the 80%, right, that high range, right, and you see in the graph how you will feel, right, breathless, with difficult saying more than 2 to 4 words, right? Those are those sprints. If you dance for, 20 minutes, you're in the middle of a board and gym dance, right? There's 4 songs, your favorite songs. You finish dancing, you're like, I need something to drink, right? That's where you feel that burn in the muscle, right? That's really up there. Really up there in that zone of cardiovascular fitness. That's where you're really going to increase your cardiovascular fitness, improve your cardiovascular system, right? So those are the zones, zone 1, zone 4, and you can see how you'll feel in the different zones. Pretty cool graphic. That's why it's really important to know your target heart rate zones, right? If you were going to say you're doing 3 days, day 1, you're going to be in the lower intensity, right? Just feel comfortable, get the body moving. Day 2, you're going to be up to that 70, 75% range, right? Not too bad. You won't really feel it burn, but it's good activity. And then on the 3rd day, you're going to be in zone 4, really working on it and continuously to progress throughout those weeks, throughout those months, working your way up into each zone. So that's why it's important to know your target heart rate zone. So what we're going to do, we're going to practice that. Okay, we're going to perform exercise for 2 minutes. Take your heart rate and record that number. Okay, so our exercises include sitting, right? You already did the first one, right? So you're sitting, you took your resting heart rate, right? The other activities will be standing, pacing, jumping jacks, high knees, squats, butt kickers, skip, pacing, and then we're going to go standing, sitting, and sitting. Okay, so how we'll do that and show. Stop share. So now you can see me. I just want to open something, make sure this works. And we'll go back to share screen. Good. So using Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Excel or numbers, we can log numbers and create a graph. If you don't have any of these programs, email me, we'll take care of it, right? I will never have you do something, assign you something that you can't do and then not give you credit for, right? If you don't have these programs or they're not on your computer, just let me know and we'll figure something out, right? But what we'll do, right? So we'll plug in those activities, right? We have resting heart rate, right? Your resting heart rate. So that's just sitting, standing. What are the other ones? Standing. pacing. I'll just write a few high knees. Right, the other activities, right? Write them down, you see them. And what you're gonna do, right? You do those activities. So, right, you took your resting heart rate. Resting heart rate, say you got 60, right? You write down 60. Standing, say you got one up just a little bit, 64. Pacing, maybe 70. High knees, maybe 75. You continue to do that, right? Down, 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 until you get to the last sitting, right? You log that last number. When you're done, what you do is you highlight both, right? You highlight both. You come over to here and you click, where's insert? Oh, insert, you click insert. And then if you click this little square right here where there's like a bar graph, you click the bar, right? First one, do anything you want, cool, right? It will give you a graph, right? Make sure on your graph, right, you hit add chart element. You can add axes, right? This is your exercise. Exercises, right? The, not the horizontal, the vertical, right? What do we measure our heart rate in, right? Beats per minute, BPM, you could write it out, BPM, and give your chart a title, okay? So that's what you have to do, right? Do each exercise for 2 minutes, right? After those 2 minutes, take your heart rate, chart it, right? Take a break if you need it, but then move on to the next exercise, okay? So that's what you gotta do. When you're done with this, right, just screenshot this or email me your chart, your logging of numbers, right? So the exercise and the BPMs, and then the chart, which shows the graph. Email me that with a description of what you think happened, okay? What do you think happened throughout the graph? Did your heart rate go up when you were doing high knees, or did it go up when you were sitting? Did it go up and did it come down? What did it do? And tell me how you feel. Nothing, 4 sentences, 5 sentences max. If you need more, go ahead, right? A little synopsis of what happened, okay? If you have any questions, let me know. Hopefully I did a good job explaining that. I want to go back to the slideshow real quick, just in case anybody has any questions, right? So sitting, this is sitting. Standing, that's standing. Pacing, for pacing, you can just walk like 4 steps, right? Just pace, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pace back and forth, 2 minutes. Jumping jacks, right? Jumping jacks. Go ahead and do jumping jacks, 2 minutes. High knees, right? High knees in place. Oh, get those knees up, right? High knees, high knees, high knees. What's next? Butt kickers, right? Just kick your butt. Ah, man, I need a GoPro, right? Kick your butt, kick your butt, kick your butt in place for 2 minutes. Skipping, skip. You don't have to skip up and down the hallway or anything like that, right? Just skip in place. You can do 1 foot, you can do 2 foot, skip in place just like that. Back to pacing, right? Small area, 4 to 5 steps back and forth. Standing, sitting, 2 minutes. Take your heart rate here, carotid, radial, and then do sitting again, and then see where we are on our graph. I hope this makes sense. It was a little weird doing it with just myself, but if you have any questions, let me know. Like I said, write those exercises in the Excel spreadsheet or number spreadsheet, record the BPMs you got after 2 minutes, highlight those 2, right? Click insert graph, it will give you a graph. BPMs, right? That's what we measure our heart rate in on the vertical axis, exercise on the horizontal one. Take a screenshot or email it to me with a little synopsis of what you felt, what you visualized, and what happened, and then you'll be all set, okay? Hope this is well. Hope this slideshow is well and the activity goes well. I hope you are doing well and you enjoyed this little activity, and I will see you tomorrow. All right, see you later.